Hi everybody, good evening. Just thought I'd jump on a little bit later than normal. Just thought I'd sort of see who's around and who's about and try and get comfortable. So just a little bit about today's post, which was about letting your fear control you, really, more than anything. So what I really wanted to know was when fears stopped you from doing something that you want to do. And I don't mean as in, like I said in my post earlier, sometimes fear is a good thing. And certainly I'm not suggesting that everybody just go and sort of throw themselves off a mountain and go, parachuting without a guide, because I said, clear the fear or anything like that. But I'm just suggesting that there might be things that you've wanted to kind of do in life and you haven't necessarily allowed yourself to do them because you felt too frightened to do it. And yes, there's always money problems, there's always money options involved there. Hi Dana, how are you? Hi Nadia, how are you? So yeah, finance is always an option, and there's going to be things that we want to do that we can't afford to do. There's going to be age restrictions, so it might be that we weren't old enough to do it yet, we weren't young enough to do it yet. Retire, that kind of thing. Hi Peter. So yeah, there's going to be obvious things that are going to stop you from doing certain things apart from fear. So certainly, if you're looking to have another child or something like that, and it might well be that actually, you need to give your body some time to heal before you do. So I'm not suggesting that every action you should ever want to do is just held by fear, but there are going to be times when there are things we want to do that it's fear that holds us back. And it could be that there's a job going at work and actually we'd like to apply for that, we'd like to do that, but we also know that somebody down the hall or in a different office is going for it, and we know that they're really good or that they're really friendly with the bosses. So our fear is that we won't be taken seriously or we won't get the job because it's obviously going to be for them. And that's the kind of fear I'm talking about. It might be that we don't want to go for a promotion because we're not sure we're good enough. It's a job we'd love to do, but we don't know if we can do it. We'd like to change our job, but you might have done the same job for years and years and years, and actually, you kind of fancy a change. But because you've always done this job, it's kind of that fear of what if I can't do something different. And they're the kind of things I'm referring to when I say about fear holding you back, because fear is a reason not to do something, but it's not the reason you shouldn't do something. So my example I gave earlier about my shark dive, which was absolutely amazing. Yes, I'm slightly odd in that I have a bit of a thing for great white sharks. Now, because of some health reasons, I can't actually do a great white dive at the moment. I will do eventually. It's not going to stop me. I am going to work my way to it. But you have to be a certain level of diver qualified for most of these dives, not all of them, but for most of them. And you have to be at a particular health level, and I don't reach that health level yet, and I'm not a master diver to be able to do it. But, hi Margaret, there was a place in a Sea Life Centre in Blackpool where instead of going into the ocean and doing the dive with the big great whites, you can dive with sharks in their shark tank and in the tunnel. And that's what I did. And it was amazing. It was brilliant. And when I told people that's what I was doing, a lot of people thought I was stupid and said, like, oh, I couldn't do that. Sharks frighten me. And don't get me wrong, they frightened me too. And, there's a huge difference from being on the edge of the water and being excited about getting in that tank with those sharks and, feeling the adrenaline and really, really wanting to do it because it's your dream. And then actually getting in that water with those sharks and they swim past you and they're 8 foot, and yeah, I crapped myself a little bit too. I'm quite quite happy to admit I wasn't as brave as I thought I might be, but it was still amazing. But it wasn't the fear that stopped me from doing it. I still had that fear, but because it was something I really, really wanted to do, and because it was something I knew eventually I was going to love and I was going to be ecstatic about doing, I was able to work my way through the fear and still do it. So I did it, and it's amazing, and I can't stop talking about it with people. And it was my profile picture above my children for ages and ages. So, it's the same for anything. So if you want to go for a job, you might have the fear of, what if I don't get it? What if I'm not good enough? What if I can't do the job? But that shouldn't stop you from actually trying it, because the other option you have is, what if it's the best move you ever made? What if you are absolutely fantastic at that job? What if it completely amazes you and you are the happiest you've ever been? That's equal opportunity for that to be the option as the other side. So what happens is, our fear of failing, or our fear of not getting it right, or the fear of jumping and making that change, stops us from trying completely. And we hang on to that fear as if it's a life raft. It's kind of like, well, I'm too frightened to do it, so it ticks that box. It's an okay reason to have to not do it, and it's not an okay reason to have. Clear the fear, get yourself out there, give it a go, because unless it's something that is going to either financially or health wise impact you. So for me, if I did the shark dive in New Zealand with the great whites when I knew my health wasn't good enough, then that's not clearing the fear, that's just being stupid. You've got to have an element of being an element of common sense around this as well. This is about basic fear. This isn't about kind of running through a burning fire, to be able to say that you did, or doing some other weird sport where you're kind of throwing yourself off a mountain and and you've got no guide or support or anything like that. Those kind of things are health conscious. There's a risk there. But if you really, really wanted to do a parachute jump, or you really wanted to do a ski dive off a huge mountain, nothing to say you can't do it. You just need to do it the right way. You need to make sure you get trained, get yourself a guide that knows what they're doing. Don't just go and do it. It's a bit different than if it's just applying for a job. But if applying for a job meant that if you weren't very good at it and you lost your job, you'd lose your home, well, okay, that's different to it being just a fear that's holding you back, and it being more than just fear. That's about your common sense. That's about you having responsibilities, and that's very different again. So, you've got to weigh up, is it just fear that's holding you back, or is there other elements too? So if you've got young children, you might not want to go and do a sailboat around the world for 6 months, because then it means leaving your children behind. You might think that's the best thing to do. No judgment from me whatsoever. But, if you are frightened of doing the sailboat around the world because you're worried about being on your own, or you're worried about whether or not you can do it, or whether or not you break the record, that's different. That's not saying, well, actually I'm going to chuck my job in, lose my home, and possibly end up with my children's social services because I didn't listen. That's about saying, right, well, actually it's the fear that's holding me back, is my fear of failure, my fear of not being brilliant at it, that's holding me back, not other options that hold you back, like financial bonds, age restrictions, health restrictions, that kind of thing. So if it is just fear that's holding you back, then why don't you go for it? Why don't you give it a go? So if there is a job up on the board this week at work, and you've looked at it 2 or 3 times, or say last week, because today is only Monday, and you've looked at it 2 or 3 times and you keep thinking, I'd love to do that, but I don't know whether I should, it's another move, would I be able to do it, would I want to work with that person, all of those kind of things. Why not give it a go? Why not put your application in? Right up to the point of accepting the job, you can pull out. You don't have to go for the interview, you don't have to accept the job. You can go through the whole process. There's nothing stopping you. Give it a go. if there's a country you've always wanted to visit and you're frightened to go in because actually you've never been on holiday on your own, then as long as you're going to a safe environment, as long as you're not going somewhere where actually single women are, abused, then, you might not want to go on holiday somewhere like that. But if it's somewhere and it's safe, then go. Book a holiday, go on your own, go for a weekend away by yourself, stay in a hotel overlooking the sea, stay in a resort you've always wanted to do. If it is just fear that is holding you back, then go for it. Why not? And just see what happens. What's the worst? It could be that actually it's the best thing you ever did. It could be that actually, by doing that, you've become a completely different person and you've totally opened a whole new set of doors for yourself, a whole new set of friends, a whole new community of people. You don't know if you don't try. And like I've said at the very, very beginning, unless there is a health or financial risk involved, if it's just fear that is holding you back, stop using fear as a reason not to do it and use fear as what propels you into doing it and giving it a go. Hi Sarah, how are you? Don't let fear be the reason you're not doing something that could be amazing. Give yourself a little bit of credit that, it could be something fantastic. It could be the best thing ever. And just go and give it a go. So post here, if you like, what you feel might be something you'd like to do if you didn't have the fear of doing it. And let's turn it into a goal. If you're not sure how you can do it, then myself or even the rest of the group, we can help you. If you let us know what it is you've always wanted to do and why the fear is holding you back, let's turn that fear into a goal and let's get you there. Let's get you doing it. Two of the people in this group in the last month have given in their notice in their steady jobs to go from their 9 to 5 to going self-employed. One of them's already doing it and one of them's about to do it, and it's an amazing thing for them. A few months ago that would have been the biggest fear. It would have been, what if it doesn't succeed? What if I can't do this? But they've got the boundaries set, they know what they're doing, they've got their business plans in place now. Now's the perfect time. They've pushed that fear to a side and now they're going for it. That's fantastic. Well done to them. That's brilliant. And everybody must have something that they're kind of thinking they wish that they could do, but, they've been held back because they've always been frightened of what the outcome is. If you don't do it, the outcome is you never do it and you never know. So by not doing it, you're guiding the outcome to be a negative. Whereas if you give it a go and go for it, who knows what the outcome could be? Who knows how amazing it could be? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to think about something you've always wanted to do that's you've been held back by being frightened of what might be. Post it here and me and the rest of the group are going to help you turn it into a goal. So hopefully we'll have a few good exciting things to be working on over the next couple of months. Anyway guys, have a lovely evening and I'm going to let you go. I've got my dog pestering me now. He's getting a bit frustrated that I'm not paying him any attention, so he's huffing and puffing in the corner here. So I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye.